Të nderuar teleshikues, sot kam të ftuar Peter Andersen, vjen nga Kosova, është kanadez, por ka një lidhje shumë të veçantë me shtetin e dytë shqiptar, sepse është përfshirë në mënyrë vullnetare në zhvillimin e një sporti të ri në Kosovë. Dhe ky sport është curling. Po më parë, le të njihemi shkurtimisht me Peterin. Peter, mirë se erdhe.
Mirëmëngjes.
Mirëmëngjes, shumë mirë. It's like 4 years that you've been living in Kosovo?
Pretty much. It started out as a summer internship at the end of June of 2016, and then I've been there ever since.
English is your first language there?
Yeah, exactly. Like I can speak enough ship to communicate with taxi drivers and that kind of thing, my friends, but not enough for this interview for sure.
Okay, I know today you arrived from Kingston. Is that where you were born and raised?
Yes, that's my hometown and where I started curling when I was a kid. But yeah, that's the only place in Canada I go back to visit at Christmas time.
How did you become a curler?
So my entire family was involved with curling, and
including
my parents and my grandparents, and basically I grew up at the curling club watching my parents' games, and then got involved with the sport when I was 3, and so it's kind of everything, the only sport I've ever known kind of a thing.
Peter, what do we know about the origin of this sport? Is there any particular country that can claim to be its birthplace, so to speak?
Yes. Don't quote me on the exact date, but it's from Scotland originally.
Okay.
It was developed in the 1820s, so it's a very old sport, mainly played by Scotland and in Canada, where they have curling clubs everywhere.
What makes Canada so much a curling country? The fact that it's a cold country, or
I think,
or the influence of Scottish immigrants, maybe? I
think both, probably. Like I just went to Scotland for the first time in December or in November for Kosovo Curling, and I'm just realizing now the crazy amount of crossover there is between Scottish names and Canada and that kind of thing. But definitely, I think it had to do with the cold climate that kind of picked up the sport here.
Give us an idea, what is curling about? Some rules?
So basically you have I believe it's a 40-meter sheet of ice, and at each end you have bullseye target rings, and each team is made up of 4 players that throw 2 rocks each, and each team alternates back and forth, throwing their stones and trying to get them closer to the center of the rings, which we call the button. And they can do so by either throwing it there, which we call a draw, or hit, which is removing another stone. And then there's also guards in basic terms to help protect the rocks that have made it into the rings.
Is there any structure in the team?
Yes, so there's everybody has their own position. There's the lead, second, third, and skip. The skip is the one who stands at the other end of the ice and is the person who comes up with the strategy and calls the shots and decides where he has a broom that he puts in the rings and decides where the person who's throwing needs to aim at and what turn to throw to make the shot, because the rock will, as the name of the game is, curl down the ice. And then the other ones are just position players.
Peter, don't take it personally, but I think there are some members of our audience that they like basketball, hockey, soccer, and they think that curling is a boring sport. Can you prove them how wrong they are?
It's might be tough for me to speak about it, but if they just went and tried it once, a lot of the Kosovars that I've brought to train from Kosovo to Budapest or Bratislava to play, a lot of them have had doubts about the game and how much fun it will be. But then after that first day, then it's a complete 180 switch of their attitude. but curling is, it may not be as fast-paced as basketball or football. You still end up getting your workout in with the sweeping, the mufshi. But curling is more based around community and building making friends, and so you play your game, and then the tradition of the game is that the winners buy the loser a drink after the game. So there shouldn't be any bad blood on the ice. The game stays on the ice, and then you go in and you have a drink and get to know the other team. So,
tell me more about your involvement in this sport in Kosovo. What is your position in this federation, and what is generally your role in promoting curling in Kosovo?
I guess technically my role is advisor, because the president of the federation, Besim Hassani, is already...
Besim Hassani.
Yes, he's already there. But basically my role has been coordinating delivery of curling equipment to Kosovo, organizing events, bringing coaches in to train, training myself, and then coordinating everything that's involved in getting Team Kosovo to World Championships.
Do they have facilities in Kosovo for curling?
No, like the closest thing we have to it is there's a couple malls in Kosovo that now have a piece of ice that's maybe like the size of this room, not too big, which I've toyed with the idea of creating like a delivery area so people could get used to sliding on ice and used to the balance before we invest in, because it takes a lot of effort and money to take people from Kosovo and bring them to Budapest where we have ice. That's the closest ice facility.
So when it comes to competition, you have to go to Budapest, you're saying?
Sometimes. Well, usually what we do, or what we have done for the past couple times, is we'll try to arrive where it's being hosted like a week early, and then get some ice time so that we can train ahead of time. And whether it's training our players first time, not really too fair, but training them first time during that week and then throwing them into a world championship, or whether it's the players who have had a little bit of experience, just getting them back into the swing of things.
Okay, I see. So in Kosovo, you train in dry, let's say.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we train and dry a little bit. I guess I also left out it's mostly development of introducing people to what curling is.
Okay.
Some people may have seen it and be familiar with it from the Olympics, but there's still a lot of people that don't really know. And so when we do these events at schools and downtown in Pristina on Mother Teresa Boulevard, it's really more just about getting people to be like, oh, what's this? And explaining.
Is the Kosovo Federation internationally recognized?
Yes, so it's recognized internationally by the World Curling Federation provisionally, and it will become fully recognized at the next World Curling Congress meetings in St. Petersburg, Russia in September.
I see.
But we needed to do a couple things before. We needed to, so it was provisionally recognized, and then Kosovo hadn't really been attending annual meetings, so we needed to do that for 2 consecutive years and compete at 2 world championships. So we've done that in 2019, so now we can get full access and a little bit more funding for bigger purchases related to curling from the World Curling Federation.
Who is funding right now this federation?
Nobody.
Nobody?
We had...
So when you say nobody, no institutions, because I believe someone is paying the bills.
So we had a GoFundMe for our first World Championship, which largely donations came from people I know back in Canada related to curling. And for the World Mixed Championships in Aberdeen in October, we were able to get some late financial support from the Ministry of Sports and Culture, who are covering our expenses for that. But the rest has kind of come from my family. Like the last World Championship was basically all my family until.
Wow.
Yeah.
So generous.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah.
I don't know.
There are airline tickets to be paid, right? Hotel stay and stuff.
Exactly. I mean, luckily, things are a little bit more expensive if you're flying from Canada to Europe. Yeah. And once you're within Europe, things are relatively cheap. But still, yes, hotel costs and rental cars and food, that kind of thing.
Aside this challenge of finding sponsors and generally speaking funding, what other challenges are you facing with this sport in Kosovo?
I mean, yeah, the lack of facilities and how hard it is for, we typically have pretty good luck with visas and that kind of thing. Oh. But it's a process. It's not, I people ask me, I tell them about curling when I do in Kosovo, and they say, awesome, when can I try? And whereas if I was in Canada, I could say, oh, just go to your local curling club. In Kosovo, I have to say, well, I'm trying to plan it. We need to apply for visas and then book flights, and there's a certain financial part attached to it that not all the average Kosovar can't always afford. So it's tough.
Personally, for you, how much time do you spend as a volunteer in developing curling in Kosovo? Is that a full-time job now, or?
Yeah, sort of. For the last 3 years, it was kind of like a side job. I had a full-time job to pay my expenses while living in Kosovo to kind of chase this kind of, some people would look at as a cuckoo, crazy dream. But yeah, basically since the end of August, it's just been too much with the amount of traveling that I've been doing. And Kosovo Curling has been my full-time job.
Now, as a regular resident in Kosovo, how is life there?
I mean, the winters are kind of tough because of the air quality, but apart from that, tëdua Kosovë.
Tëdua Kosovë.
Yeah, I don't know, it's just, I find the people there are so generous and so kind, and there's more of a sense of community and closeness and people together, like people stopping on the streets to say hi or, I don't know, that kind of thing. But it's just like the food is really good, and it was easy to make lots of friends. So,
did you have a chance to visit Albania too?
Of course.
Yeah.
I have friends in Tirana, and I love being in Dermi in the summertime.
My favorite too.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, most of my time I'm in Kosovo, in Pristina.
Did you have a chance to make Kosovo friends in Canada?
I haven't really met too many people yet. Okay. We had one person who kind of did the reverse of me, but he now lives in Kingston. And so I'm gonna go meet with him for coffee this week. But other than that, I haven't met any other Kosovars.
There could be Albanians from Kosovo living in Canada that maybe they play curling.
Yeah, that'd be great.
There would be an opportunity to recruit them in the future.
Exactly. I mean, for them, it's an opportunity to, living in Canada, represent Kosovo on an international stage and meet people from all over the world. You get to play at a world championship when the bar for Kosovo curling right now is relatively low because we don't have that many people playing. But in Canada, like even if you're from the smallest town, there's a really good chance that you have a curling club. So
yeah, that's true. I'm sure there are viewers from Kosovo, from Albania living in Canada watching us now that will appreciate what you're doing, and they may be willing to donate for developing curling in Kosovo. Is there any website or any way to make a donation?
I have a website. It's currently under development, but to contact us through the Kosovo or Curling Kosovo Facebook page or Instagram.
Okay.
We have banking information I can get to them. But yeah, we greatly appreciate it.
E dëgjuat besoj, domethënë këtu ka nevojë për dhurime që sporti i curling të zhvillohet në Kosovë. Është një sport shumë civil, shumë paqësor, që siç e tha dhe Peteri, krijon shumë miqësi të reja. Kështu që në rast se ka televizionist shqiptar nga Kosova, nga Shqipëria që dëshirojnë të bëjnë një dhurim modest ose edhe të konsiderueshëm, ta kontaktojnë Peterin në faqen e Facebookut që kemi shfaqur në ekran ose në Instagram. Peter, I thank you so much for coming from Kingston to Toronto and generally speaking for your amazing efforts to help Kosovo develop a new sport, curling.
Faleminderit shumë.
Faleminderit edhe për te.